Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. And here's her story. Dear Ollie, you've done stories for my sister and I before. Mine was BPD Monsters, Not Victims, Part 15, me. And my sister's were When the Covert Hides Behind the Overt and the Narcissist Always Has a Plan. Your insight has been very helpful, so thank you. My mother is the one who spent half a day violently pounding on my window when my 2-year-old and 6-week-old were inside with me after I didn't respond to her angry messages for a week and I hadn't seen her in 3 days. My father then gaslighted me for weeks and tried to get me to cookie therapy with her. After a year of attempted no contact with my mother, she is taking me to court for access to my kids. Grandparents have rights where we live. They can apply to the court if they are denied access to their grandkids. That's just unfucking believable to me. I can't see how it might be a good thing in a very few. I could see how it could be a good thing in a very few cases, but in general, it just looks like epic baby boomer entitlement in action. I made a difficult decision for my well-being and the protection of my kids, and some judge who knows nothing about me or my family can override that decision. She went to the court to take out the summons on her birthday, a gift to herself. She ended her last letter after she sent the summons with, "It's not going to be a very pleasant Christmas for you or us this year, as it was the same last year." That's a threat. See, these are the stupid things that narcissists do, because if she's taking you to court, okay, if she understands, this seems like this woman, if she has a solicitor, which is a lawyer, okay, the lawyer tells you not to contact the other party, but she's not listening. She will destroy herself in court. Okay, and I looked into it. These places that with grandparents' rights, they're supposed to be after a divorce. Not when both parents make the decision that this person is toxic and shouldn't be in their life. Two different scenarios. So don't get caught up on the whole grandparents' rights thing. It's supposed to be post-divorce. There's no divorce here. My question is to you, am I mad to try to fight her? No. If you don't want her around and she's toxic, you go in there and you just tell the judge, listen, these two people are completely toxic from birth. They are pathological liars, they are violent, they are manipulative, and they are horrible. And they will manipulate this court, and they're not going to do to my children what they did to me, because that's exactly what they're after. They can't help it because their toxicity takes over. And if they got a solicitor, you should have a solicitor too. Don't go in there without a lawyer. You have rights. They can't just, you're right, some judge shouldn't be able to just decide what, like, they don't know. No, you're not crazy. I had to take care of my son roughly a day, a fortnight for 2 weeks, for 2 years. Everyone kept telling me that everyone is apprehensive about leaving their kid with anyone. Now I realize they just didn't understand what my mother was like. There isn't much precedent for grandparents taking their own children to court for access here. I'm weighing up what to bring up in court. I'm also not sure if other people can see her. Maybe her letters sound fine to other people. Here's one she wrote exactly 1 month to the day before getting her summons. Okay. What you bring up in court is, this is all you keep saying, it's toxic. It's a toxic relationship. These are toxic people. It's toxic, just toxic. All right, so here's the letter. It was suggested to us to get legal advice from a family law solicitor from our family therapist, purely to clarify things for your dad and I, cause of the enormity of being cut off from our grandchildren and the effect it was having on us, even if we don't go ahead with it. What a vexuous and vicious thing to say to your dad. That's a legal term, vexuous. Be careful. And what a vexuous and vicious thing to say to your dad and I, that either of us was a threat to our grandchildren and there was something wrong with our environment and that your dad was faking his tears. Your dad and I love our family and we're always there for you. I did not get it right all of the time. Grandparents have rights since 2013. It has a success rate of 80%. The children would have to be in danger for it to not work out. That is what you are claiming. And they are in danger. They're in emotional danger of complex CPTSD, just like I am suffering. And this is what you tell the judge. Understand something. I suffer from complex PTSD, as does my sister. And your sister should go to the court and back you up if she gives a shit. And this is a litmus test for your sister. Okay, if you care about your nieces and nephews, you're going to back me up on this toxicity. I'm the proof. My life, I can't function. I can't keep a thought in my head because these people have been messing with it. Now they're trying to use my children. This is why I've been trying to end this cycle. This is cancer over here. And the only way you cure cancer is you cut it off. That's dangerous. They're toxic. They're dangerous. That's what you explain to them. Okay? They are dangerous because you caused this CPTSD. The narc thinks because if they don't hit you, if your wounds aren't visible, they don't exist. That isn't true. Our injuries are invisible and they're devastating. They're devastating. You trip her up, use her own fucking words against her. This is what she thinks. She thinks because there's no bruises that nobody's in danger. Bullshit. Bullshit. Your dad and I love our family and we're always there for you. I did not get it right all the time. Grandparents, yes, it's an 80% success rate. The children would have to be in danger, which they are. They encourage mediation if you don't take part. The courts decide. This is all threatened. Understand something. These are all veiled threats. And you should read through this and make the court understand. These are all gaslighting threats to let me know they're in charge. That I don't even have a say over my own children. This is what's going on. Use your mother's words against her. This should be, Defense Exhibit A, her own words. Use them against her. What kind of mother walks away from her family? You want me to just go away. You've made no effort to engage with us because you said everything is due to my psychological problems. Your statement is incoherent. No, you walk away from somebody with what am I supposed to do? You have psychological problems that you will not address legitimately. You want to go to cookie therapy where nobody actually talks about what's going on. We just try to figure out how to get along. No. And the time, you got to make it clear to the court. The time for therapy with these people was 20 years ago. Okay? They don't want therapy. They want control. We pose no threat to the children. You're using your children as pawns. No, they're using their children as pawns. We pose no threat. They know they pose a threat. She knows they pose a threat. Based on the solicitor's case history, there would be no reason why your dad and I would not get access to both children and not supervise access and would not be a threat to the children. Imagine we were put in this position. Now, they don't know that. Based on what? Based on what? You said the things you said would be seen as perceptual. in other words, don't constitute emotional abuse. And you make it clear to the judge, say, this is what this woman does to me my whole life. Tells me the law, tells me what to think. This is an open gaslight for her to get her way. Telling me how my abuse is going to, oh, that's just, your abuse is perceptual. Fuck you, bitch. Use it against her. Where does she come up with that? Really? This is nothing more than a veiled bullying attempt. There are bits of these traits in everyone at times, just as your dad said to you initially. He knows he knows his own mind and knows me better than you seem to think you do. It would be based on the 2 years I minded your son for. She minded him approximately almost 2 years. Your sister wouldn't come into it, nor does the past. Emotional abuse is ambiguous. Really? Emotional abuse is ambiguous. So that's what she's going into this court saying. Emotional abuse is ambiguous, but she's not a danger. She thinks emotional abuse is ambiguous, but she's not a danger to the children, and she sits here and emotionally abuses you in a letter. Use her own words against her. Use it. She's admitting emotional abuse is ambiguous in a family court. In a situation where there's no divorce, mind you. There's no divorce here. This isn't a visitation over bitterness, over an Court looks at that much differently. This is two parents outside of divorce saying no. Much different scenario. Shouting at me in front of your son could be seen as emotional abuse. Bad example. He might do the same to someone else sometime, not to mention not answering phones and doors, not exactly welcoming and friendly house for a child. So she gets to decide what emotional abuse is. So if you yelled at her, that's emotional. So and you point this out. See, this is how the toxicity works. She tells me my emotional abuse on me is all ambiguous, but she'll tell me I'm emotionally abusing my son for calling her out on her BS, because her BS can never be addressed, as she admits earlier on when she says you have made no effort to engage us because you said everything is due to my psychological problems. This statement is incoherent. Well, she's pretty much proving her psychological problems later on in her own letter when she's saying it's ambiguous, okay? That emotional abuse is ambiguous, and then tries to turn it on you, saying you're yelling at her is you abusing your son. But you're incoherent. But your statement is incoherent. And she's not dangerous. Use her own words. Again, see, she got the desired effect she wanted out of this letter, to freak you out and to scare you a little bit. You should be thank you, because I'm going to use this fucking letter against you in court. I'm going to tear it apart, dissect it, and show how you're really the toxic cunt here. We have decided not to go ahead with this case. All right, so this was a year ago. We don't want the stress now. We know that this is vexuous, another legal term. We keep telling ourselves this is not the real you and you have built a wall around yourself, as well as that we are not getting any younger. Life is too short. We hope you can find a way of channeling your bitterness. It's not nice for us to realize that you have been taking advantage of us for years and that your loyalties are not with us at all. To end it with the guilt trip, the gaslight, typical narc toxicity 101. Thanks for all your help, Ollie. Anonymous. You know what? She gave you a gift. She gave you a gift because she's showing her mental instability and her emotional abuse in her own letter. In her own letter, she's showing it. She doesn't take your emotional abuse, what happened to you, seriously. But then she's going to stand there and play you yelling at her is you. This is what you have to get clear in the court. And I hope you get a lawyer, a solicitor. This is what they have to get across to the judge. This is how the toxicity works. They will discount every one of your issues, every one of your emotional abuse happenings, things that have happened, and make it like it's nothing, and then turn it around and make themselves the victim. That's what she's doing. This is supply for her. And the judge has to understand this is part of her toxic supply. This is part of her narcissistic supply. But I don't think you should be afraid to fight. I would hope your sister would have your back in court. Okay, because understand, those grandparent visitation is for after divorce, not for this. Not for this. And don't be afraid, because she gave you a gift. She gave you a gift here. Use it. Use it. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for another contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, and if somebody knows about this, I think this person's in the UK. I'm pretty sure of it. In fact, they call them solicitors in the UK, so I'm pretty sure it's got to be Europe, UK. If anybody knows anything else that I don't know, please put it in the comment section below. Because these type of things drive me insane, whether it's alienation or, it's just these fucking baby boomers again. And she's right. She's right. This is baby boomer entitlement. This is baby boomer entitlement. Sorry. I know some of you are not going to like that, but this is baby boomer entitlement that causes shit like this. So, grandparents' rights. Unbelievable. So thank you. So please leave any comments to help out Anonymous. Okay, with that said, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to help keep it supported, growing, and expanding, because remember, this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.